This is Marivir Montibon, and we are on our second edition for this Monday. It's really, really busy today. We're about to wrap up the International Women's Month celebration. We are towards the end of March. So a lot of things going on in our community. And foremost of that is an event tomorrow at the Barnes and Noble in Tribeca. This is a very good event that we Filipinos will be proud of. I'd like to invite you to join the meet and mingle with Loida Lewis and Blair Walker at Barnes and Noble. Miss Loida Lewis is launching her book, Why Should Guys Have All the Fun? So the event is brought to you by the publishers of the book, and the iconic Loida Lewis is going to be there along with the co-author in Barnes and Noble on 97 Warren Street, New York City. So Miss Loida Lewis, as you would know, is a iconic Filipino luminary here in New York and in the U.S. and as well as in the Philippines. She is a philanthropist. She is a mother. She is an advocate for so many social issues in the Philippines, in the U.S., and she is an immigration lawyer, mother of two grown women, and a friend, an advocate, a friend to many, and we can just uh, learn from her. She could actually do a master class for how to run a $1 billion business and how to be a leader and a mom and all those things wrapped into one person. So lately we had an afternoon or an evening conversation with Miss Lewis in her home in Manhattan on Fifth Avenue, and she met the members of the press, the Asian American Journalists Association of New York, as well as the FilAm Press Club of New York. So we had a up close conversation with her, and the event was being hosted or emceed by Loida Nicolas Lewis, the niece of Miss Loida Lewis. So there are so many takeaways in that conversation, and I'd like to share this with you. This is an amazing opportunity for us to learn from somebody who is living the life, an exemplary life, yet humble and very responsible. Let's take a listen.
That's why the title of her book is, go ahead, Tita.
Why should guys have all the fun? And an Asian American story of love, marriage, motherhood, and running a $1 billion empire.
Right.
Okay, so with my publisher and my co-writer Blair Walker, he said, "Why do you want to place Asian American? You know, people will say you're narrowing it." I said, "No, with Asian hate and people thinking that we are from another planet, I have to place Asian American there so that they will know we are just like anyone. We have highs and lows. We have successes and failures. So that should be there, front and center, Asian American." And I was so happy that the first time an Asian American won Best Actress. Yes. Yes. So it's our time. It's our time.
Amazing.
So, well, since
Man died suddenly. Well, he committed suicide. So she took over, and she was very successful in bringing Washington Post into a national name. So she had a book at 75. So I was closing to 75. I said, I will have to write my book before 75. It didn't happen. 76, 77, 78. I was turning 80. I said, I have to do this. So I called up Blair Walker. Blair Walker is the co-writer of Why Should White Guys, because Mr. Lewis died and I assigned him to finish the book. I said, Blair, you know half of my life, help me finish the other half. And that's what he did. So And then that's not it. If any one of you is planning to write a book, get it auctioned, and they will pay you half. Why? Because they paid me half. And if I don't finish it, I have to give up the money. Not only practical, but it's against my own my own integrity. I mean, you start something, you finish it. Just like I was sophomore in law school, I wanted to enter the convent. And I had already a date, July 4. So my mother said, Loida, you're already 2 more years. Why don't you finish it, become a lawyer? So I entered the convent. And, you can practice law because it was Notre Dame de Vie, you practice your own career. And if it doesn't work for you, you come out, you're still a lawyer. Your merchandise is in your head. Nobody can take that away. I said, Mama is right. So I did not go to the convent. I finished law, went to the United States, and destiny.
Destiny happened. So that's how she met the deal maker, the first black deal maker, billion-dollar deal maker, Reginald Lewis. They fell in love, and she had a very amazing love story that she was the one who proposed marriage to Reginald. Let's take a listen.
I would not be here if it were not that I fell in love.
Right.
Some people come to the United States because of work, because they're related to somebody. I came to the United States the first time because I passed the Philippine bar. And my father was so happy that finally his dream of becoming a lawyer was realized in me. Of the 5 children, 2 boys first and me, because I'm the more daring, more talkative, more walang takot, meaning no fear, fearless. So he said, I will be the lawyer. So when I became a lawyer, great, round the world trip. Wait for your sister who was studying for her master's at Columbia University, and then tour Europe and come back here and will start your career, political career. Because in his mind, he wanted to be a lawyer and to be a politician. But in business, you cannot be a politician. In business, you cannot support one over another. You have to be neutral. So ako, I am the one selected. In fact, when I was 7 years old, we built a movie theater named Loida Theater. So that when I'm ready to run for public office, I already have name recognition.
My Lola was strategic. It was very strategic
Yes,
with that.
yes. And that's when Destiny took another course. On a blind date, I met Reginald Lewis. And as I tell everybody, you can see I'm type A, triple A. I'm driven, he was more driven. I'm ambitious, he was more ambitious. In fact, I heard from his aunt that when he was 7 years old, he wanted to be the richest black man in America. At 7! Okay, I didn't know that. And so his aim, because he went to Harvard Law School, was to buy companies. And when he got an honors grade, it was his term paper in order to create wealth, merger and acquisition. You need to say buy a company, because if you are a startup, 90% of startup fail. So if you're going to bet, why will you bet on the 10%? Buy a company because it's got already customers, suppliers, income, and your own when you buy a company, you have to think of how to increase income, reduce expenses, so that it will become profitable. And so once he had bought a company, have an exit plan. How are you going to exit this company? Maybe when you're 65, or maybe when you're, in 5 years. So that was his plan. And so when I met him, I said, I'll never meet someone like him again. So I proposed.
She's ahead of her time, ladies.
We were both lawyers. We were both finished with our studies. We were both in love with each other. Ano pa? What else? So we were in the subway. He was bringing me back to the hotel. So I asked him, and there was not too many people. Darling, do you want a big wedding or small wedding? Small wedding. Sumagot? He answered. Where do you think we should have it? NYU, they have a small chapel. Then he understood what happened. I have a headache. I was so happy. I knew I caught him. I kissed him on the cheek.
So that's how he cornered Reginald Lewis in the subway, asking if they should have a big or a small wedding. That's amazing, and they're both alphas. And so there's also the sharing of how you go about doing business. It's better to buy established business than startups, so that there is already the logistics are in place, and things could just roll. So that's an amazing learning experience that we had after listening to Loida Lewis. And here's some more. Listen to this.
If you live on the moment, something will happen. And so you must be flexible enough. And also, take time. Life is so busy, especially in New York. It's so busy. So take time to, it's called meditation. I call it Zen practice. Just being quiet, sitting down, counting your breath. 1, 2. And then, in that stillness, in that quiet, it's in the Bible. Be still and know that I am God. So, whatever, your mind will be like monkeys going here and going there. But if you're still and do it consistently, you will have some promptings. It will come to you. Maybe it's not a real answer, but you will have peace. Because in that way, in a way, you're touching God and God is touching you. You will be able to hear it. It's so noisy. But by being quiet, you will hear. So, in your own life, maybe you're on 2 roads, okay? Pray about it. And one road, this is Saint Ignatius. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Which one will I take? So, stay with that one choice. Stay with it. Live with it. And then another day or another 2 days, another. This is maybe here. Okay, stay with it, live with it, and then one of those things you will feel better. That's the path to take.
Isn't that amazing? She told us, journalists, to meditate, to look at ourselves, in be introspective, so that especially in the noise of New York, you have to take some quiet time for yourself to be able to discern, to be able to know what is the correct course of action. But just being silent and listening to what message comes into your mind from the universe, from God, from whatever your belief system is. So I embrace that takeaway from her. That was really a good conversation. And finally, here's another snippet of that lovely time with Loida Lewis.
Isn't that noble? What a life, to give your life to serve. Okay? I did not, but I got married. So each time, it's doing your best, being the best version I can. Meaning to say, it's not perfect, but in our life, you always have a choice. You always have a choice to be this or to be that. And so you make a choice, and there are consequences. Okay? If you make a choice, there's consequences. Okay, you accept it. And if you think it's wrong, then tomorrow is another day. Ano ba yun? I love it. The sun will come up tomorrow. Okay? So there's always tomorrow. And when you are saying, why did I do that? Okay? Slap yourself at it. But, okay? Forgive yourself. Ginawa mo. That was your choice. Then move on. You can always move on. So para sa akin, for me, that is like on your question. Okay, is it because I'm Filipina? Yes, definitely. Is it because I'm a woman? Yes, definitely. Is it because I'm Christian? Definitely. And is it because I married Reginald Lewis? Yes, definitely.
Thank you, Ma'am Loida.
I will not be who I am if I were not married to Reginald Lewis. And I still have his wedding ring.
Oy,
Yeah, love never ends.
awesome. Thank you, Ma'am.
So she said, love never ends. So that's a lovely time with Loida Lewis in her residence. And I hope you would take a listen and drop by at the Barnes and Noble on Tribeca tomorrow already. This is going to be at the Barnes and Noble 97 Warren Street, in Tribeca, where you will be able to meet and mingle with Loida Lewis and co-author Blair S. Walker. Why should guys have all the fun? So that's something that we Filipinos will be very proud of, because you have an icon, you have a philanthropist, an immigration lawyer, a mother, and someone who took the reins despite her grief. She took the reins of saving a $1 billion business that went downhill because of the passing away of her husband. So she fought her grief and stood and continued to charge on life. So, Loida Lewis, you may not agree with her politics all the time, but she is a leader. She is an icon. So, hope to see you there in Tribeca Barnes and Noble. Okay, so also early today, I had a very good conversation with some women leaders, creatives actually from the Philippines, who will have a photo exhibit at the Philippine consulate. Take a listen. It's a good Monday. And you know what? There's an upcoming exhibit at the Philippine Center focusing on the works of art photography, specifically for our eyes and for us to purchase to nourish our spirit, our soul. You know that's what art does. So I'm talking about ANYO. This is a photography exhibit that opens on April 3 and winds up on the 21st. And this will be at the lobby of the Philippine Center, which is on Fifth Avenue, and it will feature the works of art of Arlene Donaire, Edwin Loyola, Ian Gonzalez, Maryanne Mendoza, Paul Resurrection, and Ra Valderrama. So this is an exciting community event and an international event as well, being in New York. So I am happy to have with me the two women artists that will be featuring their works of art, and they are no less than Arlene and Maryanne. Now, Arlene is in both are in Manila. I thought she's in Davao, and they are our featured artists. So Arlene is a good friend of mine. She is she's a travel photographer, and when she's not working as a development economist, she becomes a travel and street photography enthusiast and a published writer. Arlene and I knew each other since college at the University of San Carlos in Cebu. And she has spread her wings throughout the world. And she's now a photographer and a writer at the same time. With her credit, she has to her credit 30 travel stories in the Filipino Japanese Journal since 2014. And she was featured in 2015 by Manila Bulletin's Picture Perfect magazine as Photographer of the Week. And she has been a regular writer from 2016 to 17, and many, many things. Arlene has graduate degrees in economics with flying colors and public administration at UP, Diliman, and Harvard University. And also we have Maryanne Mendoza. Maryanne is born in New York, and but she lived most of her life, if I'm not mistaken, in Manila. She is a by profession in the field of business development and real estate, and but she has been so inclined with visual arts, especially painting, and found her passion as well in travel and landscape photography. And she was one of the featured artists in Photography Zone during Art in the Park in July 2021, showcasing select works from her postcard travel series. which she got from 30 countries spanning 5 continents, and these were documented in her camera, in her lens. She believes that traveling is a transformative experience and applies the same philosophy in her photography. So that's Maryanne. And so, welcome, ladies. Hi, Arlene. Hi,
Hi.
Maryanne.
Hi.
Thank you for
Hi.
Hi.
joining me to
Good
this
morning. Good
morning and
morning.
this evening in the Philippines.
Well, good
Tell
morning
us.
to your listeners and viewers. And kumusta ka?
Okay, I'm good. Thank God. How are you, Arlene and Maryanne? How's
Good.
Excited because in a week's time we will be presenting our exhibit in New York.
I know, right? So, how long have you been preparing for this, Arlene?
A year.
A year.
Yeah, a year. Mary
Mm.
Ann initiated the project as early as I think it was New Year, right, Anne? And then
Yes, last year.
yeah, but
So,
essentially a span of 1 year, Marivir,
Mm.
and
I
we're still preparing up till today.
I see. So, these are all landscapes in the Philippines.
No,
What were they
actually,
featured?
it's varying genres. So it depends on the artist. Some of us took landscape photography. Some of us took travel photos. Very nice conceptual portraiture are also there. Some showcasing festivals in the Philippines and some highlight street photographs.
Yeah,
I see. So,
and
I'd
and
like.
and
Mm-hmm.
and if I may, that's the reason why the exhibit is called ANYO.
Uh-huh.
Anyo means form,
Mm.
but in daily language, anyo can also be taken to mean as hitsura, ano ang
Yeah.
mukha, ano
Mm.
ang
I thought
hugis,
it's a
Mm.
new
ano ang
face.
kulay,
Mm. Mm.
ano ang
Mm.
ilaw. So, and that's what photography is. An
Uh-huh.
image can be many things. So, we're photographers, specializing in different genres. So,
Mm-hmm.
our images are varied
Mm.
also. So, as Marianne explained, uh, her inclination is in fine art landscapes,
Mm-hmm.
whereas mine
Mm.
is in travel photography. So mine would show more of the colors, the vibrance
Mm.
of a location,
I
uh,
see.
while while the others would
Mm.
show the faces of the Philippines, as seen from a
Mm.
festival or a scene on the streets, or a scene
Mm.
from history.
Right. So this is like
Yeah,
Mary Ann's
Mm.
work, right? So
yeah.
Yes.
what place is this, Mary Ann?
Actually, my whole
On
series
coastal.
is was taken in Quezon.
Uh-huh.
So I call it the Quezon Coastal Series. So different towns and
Mm-hmm.
different coastal villages
Mm-hmm.
in Quezon province. So I wanted to, because Quezon is not highlighted in a lot of, travel or tourism campaigns, and I wanted to take that opportunity to show a very subtle, classic photographs of the coast.
I see. Oh, nice. So I'd like to start from the very beginning. How did you choose to become a photographer, Arlene? Tell us your story.
Mm, I think it was always in me, Veer. But
Huh?
when you're growing up and you don't have the capability to buy equipment or gear, you kind of forget it for the moment until it creeps up on you when you already have the intense desire to express
Mm-hmm.
yourself and you have the means to buy it. So
Mm.
um, it all started in 2010 for me when I was already working on various projects and I needed to do documentation photography. So
I
that's
see.
when I decided to finally become a formal student of photography. I enrolled and then eventually self taught myself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, self taught, and then joined many excursions that
Mm.
allowed me to practice and practice and practice. And it also I socialized with other
Mm.
photographers, and that's how I met Mary Ann in
Mm.
one of those
Mm.
social events na nagkakilala
Yeah.
kami.
Mm.
Nice.
The
Si Mary,
Mm.
nag-converge ang interests.
great.
Mm.
So si Mary Ann naman, I know is into real estate, and then you are into
Mm.
the creative craft of photography.
Yes.
What's your story, Maryanne?
Actually, when I was young, I actually dabbled into painting. So that was my interest. I did actually a lot of acrylic painting. But
Mhm.
as I grew up and I was exposed to more traveling, I started documenting informally the places I went to, and then the natural inclination to learn more about photography came from multiple travels I've had. So similar to Arlene, around 2010,
Mhm.
I bought my first gear. It wasn't a fancy camera. It was a point and shoot. And then there was a growing Facebook community of photographers, and I saw like workshops you can attend because I wanted to achieve certain effects and I couldn't get the results I wanted with just point and
Mhm.
shoot. So I learned some techniques and I honed that similar to Arlene through socializing and through joining many different workshops. And from then I found my own voice and my own distinct style in photography, which I'm happy to further explore. No, as you go along, you find different notes and tones that you want to change, and it's normal because as a photographer, you're also a creative,
Yeah.
and creations are not static. So it depends on what you learn and what inspires you at the moment.
Right, right. So amazing. So is
Mm,
this a profession or a passion, or is this, do you
mm,
call this a hobby? Ano ang level of commitment into this,
mm.
Arlene, and
Uh,
both of you? Are you,
it's
can we call you professional photographer? I mean, I know you're
yeah.
multi-credit.
I think from the perspective of the Filipino photographer, you're only a professional if it's your main source of income.
Uh-huh.
But
Mm,
I think
mm,
Maryanne and I are similar in that we have a profession that is left brain focused.
mm.
So we're both technical persons,
Yeah.
having the
Program
same
management,
background
yeah.
in
Mm,
economics and management. And then,
mm,
so photography for me is more like a passion, but it's also an investment because,
mm,
you tend to spend a lot of money on gear
mm,
and travel. But, it's an investment in yourself.
It's
It's what
very,
makes you happy. So the return
mm,
on investment is your joy and
mm,
your feeling of self
mm.
fulfillment. So, but sometimes nakakabenta naman paminsan-minsan, and
Yeah.
but more than anything, you don't really use the money to uh
keep you alive.
to keep you
Yeah.
alive. Yeah, it's extra income, which then you
Mm,
also use to purchase the next ticket for the next
yeah.
travel. So it's something like that for me.
It's maybe it's for psychological reward.
Yeah,
And
it's
about,
self fulfillment. It's self
yeah,
Mm.
fulfillment.
Marianne, what is your regard on this?
Us,
Your
yeah.
profession, not profession, passion, whatever.
Yes. So similar to Arlene, actually for me it's a creative outlet. So we
Mhm.
have similar backgrounds. So me, even if I'm in business development and in real estate, it's mostly financials, program management. So I was looking for actively looking for a creative outlet so I
Mhm.
can produce something of my own,
Right.
something visual because I've always been a visual learner and I've always appreciated the art. So I wanted to put my stamp on something. So that's what drives me. So profession wise, it's not my bread and butter as they
Mhm.
say, but
Yeah.
it's a way of me giving back to the community that taught me so much.
Mhm.
So selling is a bonus because it allows me to, invest in more equipment, travel more so I can take more pictures.
Uh-huh.
But not,
Yeah,
for me, it's not the driving force of why I do photography.
Well, that's the
yeah.
artistic side of a person, right? So
Yeah,
that's why you don't really care how
yeah.
much you earn for as long as
Mm,
you express.
Uh,
Yeah.
well, we care a bit about how much a photo gets sold.
mm,
Your
Yeah.
objective is to recoup how much
yeah.
it is
Mm-mm,
that you spent for production.
Right.
But
mm-mm,
otherwise, we're happy earning something. And then Marianne mentioned the phrase giving back. So
Mhm.
mm-mm,
we have another thing in common where we use our photography to give back
Uh-huh.
to
mm-mm,
the community. or
Yeah.
to advocacies or causes that we support.
Mm.
And we've done that on at least 2 occasions.
Mm, mm,
What are these advocacies that you believe?
mm,
Si Arlene maybe would like to share.
mm.
Well, the first one was kind of motivated by our support for a candidate during an election. So we
Okay.
both supported the same candidate. We believed in her. And so we decided to round up our communities of our respective communities, because we have few communities that follow us in our photography. So we rounded up volunteers who wanted to donate their photos and sell the photos, so we could gather some donations for our for the person that we wanted to support. So
That's
that,
great.
yeah,
So that's a political statement as well on your part as
it's,
an
yeah,
artist, as a
Yes, yes.
person.
Mm,
Uh-huh.
yes. And I
So-
think the other common occasion was I think you've also joined the Art in the Park, and diba?
yes,
Art in the
yes.
Park. So Art in the
Same
Park,
year, 2021.
yeah. Marivir, Art in the Park is organized by the Museum Foundation of the Philippines. So in recent years, when COVID started,
where
I
does the
think,
money go? What are the causes that
yeah, they've included photography as an art form. So the photographers, we put out our choice images for sale, and if it gets sold, then a huge percentage of that goes to the Museum Foundation of the Philippines and the Bureau of Internal Revenues, of course, to support museum activities or museum development in the Philippines.
that's really
So,
important? Like, see, like it doesn't necessarily always mean money. You just have to present your art form, your anyo, and it will create something more valuable or equally
Yeah.
valuable for a cause.
yeah.
So
It
it's
has
not
artistic value, and then it also has social value. I mean that's how
Yeah.
I see my photography. I
Mhm.
think, and then the others in our group here in ANYO, the exhibit, feel, because we're not really in it for the whole idea of selling and earning big bucks. We're very proud of being Filipinos and being able
Yes.
to take photos of the Philippines and show them to the world. So
That's
I think
exciting.
that was the motivation when Maryanne invited us,
Yeah.
and I picked it up right away, and I'm really happy that Maryanne invited me. Siya yung fearless leader namin, Veer, sa ano na to, sa exhibit na to.
Amazing. So Maryanne, so photographer and creative person, ano naman to sa'yo, ang advocacy, mic ang advocacy naman ni Arlene.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
what's it for
similar
you? What does it do to you?
Yeah, no, for me, my biggest motivation is showing not just the photography or the visual community what Filipino photographers can do, but specifically women photographers. So actually a
Right.
few years ago, back in 2019, I organized another exhibit called From the Lens of Eve. It highlighted 5 feature women photographers highlighting their landscape photographs, and it did very well. We raised a lot of money for that one. We sold a lot of images, and it was sponsored by Shangri-La Plaza. So similar to that, my biggest motivation is to show the community what women photographers can do, because I see that specifically for travel and landscape photographers, it's highly dominated by the male gaze, and I wanted to show what women can do, and instead of waiting for that opportunity, I thought I'd create that stage where I don't want to wait for to get an invite. So I created the opportunity for other women photographers to showcase their work as well. So maybe in the future that'll be an ongoing theme of when I do produce and showcase my work. It'll be that stream of thought.
That's amazing, and that's something to look forward to. You raise the visibility of women's work.
Yeah.
Nice. That's nice. So
Yeah.
great. So Maryanne, you were born in the U.S., right? Or
Yes, yes,
yes, but you're mostly in the
mm,
Philippines.
yes.
What's the story behind that?
Yeah, so I was actually born in New Jersey in 1987,
Oh,
but my family was based in Staten Island then.
uh-huh.
So, yes. And then when the family grew and some family issues came about, my mom thought of bringing us. So there are five girls in our family, and I'm the youngest. So she thought it would be best raise her children amongst the support of close family members.
Mm.
So we're a heavy matriarchal family. So
Now
my
I can
mom thought
see
of
that.
bringing us. Yeah, yes.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's nice. So, but you come back and forth to the U.S. and the
I
Philippines.
do. I do. Yes. So I actually go on annually, except
Hmm.
just for the pandemic. But my family's based not in New York, but they're now based in California.
I see.
So I do visit
California is
them
home.
annually. Yes. Mm,
Great. But
mm,
where does your heart really belong, in Manila
mm.
or in the U.S.? Where do you really feel like it's really you? Now,
Um,
yeah, personally.
yeah. Yes. Actually, I've always toyed with the idea of going back to the US because I do have a US passport as well. I carry both.
Hmm.
And I've always played with the idea of, hey, maybe I can plant my roots in the US someday. But every decision I've made thus far in my adult life have always pointed me back to Manila as my home and my base.
I
And I
see.
see myself staying here in the long term.
Oh, great. Great.
Yeah.
That's great too. Whatever makes you happy. Now, see,
Mm,
Arlene. Arlene, I know like we go a long way since college, right? So
mm,
you are always top-notch woman, a very a very excellent, brilliant student. And now you're an economist, and now you're also
mm,
into create on the creative world.
mm.
So how's life, Arlene? And everything's doing well, right? I hope.
Yeah, life is good. Life is good, Veer,
Mhm.
Um, there are decades in one's life na, you
Mm,
tend to be guided by different goals.
mm,
So
Uh-huh.
I'd like to think na for each of those goals, I always aim for being the best of who I
mm,
can be. So when I was a student, I tried to be the best student. And in my early years, as a professional, as an economist somewhere, and as a strategic planner somewhere, I think I did my best also. But
mm.
now that I'm past my golden mark, I turned 56 just last month.
Mm,
I've
Mhm.
I think I've become more aware of the the creative goals that I still want to accomplish, and the physical. There are physical demands as well when you want to become a travel photographer. So
Yeah.
the other hand is you want to be more healthy or stay healthy so that you can travel more and shoot more. Because to me, the camera has become like my third hand, and I think Marianne would
mm,
agree.
mm.
You
Yeah.
have two hands, and then you have the
Mm,
camera, which is your third hand and your third
mm,
eye. So
Mhm.
life has become like that for me, Veer. Travel has become an essential part of the annual goals.
So it's like
So
traveling is necessary for your happiness. Is that right?
it's
correct. Mm,
yeah, but it's not just traveling outside, because anytime you step out of your house, it's a form of travel. It's a form of awakening. You, as a
Uh-huh.
mm,
photographer, you see a lot
mm,
of things. So when you step out of your door,
Uh-huh.
ang dami mong makikita na you would not normally notice, I guess, prior to becoming a photographer. So, pag trained na yung eye mo to
mm,
notice things,
Uh-huh.
then even an act of as simple as stepping out of your gate or even while driving in traffic, it becomes
mm,
fascinating to
mm.
you.
So
sa
you
travel photographer. It's a travel photographers na katulad ko at ni Maryanne.
Yeah.
so you
Wala nang
develop,
lumalampas. Marami kaming nakikita kahit na, ewan ko, it's not confusing. It's really fascinating actually. It's
so you
it's
know,
like
for
when you're a
example,
writer.
when you are on the street, you would know
Yeah.
what a good picture would be, like how
Yes.
you angle it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even somebody buying ice cream, perhaps,
Yes.
you need
Yes.
to say, oh, this should be an angle for this. So
Yes.
Yes.
eye and mind already, right?
Yes.
I think you know what it really is, and we're Maryanne and I were both aware of these elements, the light, the way it
Yeah.
hits a subject, and then the way it illuminates a story, and then you have colors, and then you bring it all together in a photo, and then you create the magic of the moment. So that's the photographer's creative eye. Palaging
Yeah.
ano naman na yung
Busy.
memory pa.
Yeah.
Memory pa palaging nagwi-weird lang sa likod.
Parang that's in your
Maandar lang.
DNA. So like
Yeah.
it's been there and it just awakened somewhere when life went on,
Yeah.
right?
You
Like
can actually hone that eye by taking lots of photos, and
I
then you actually develop. You see patterns of when you look at things, and you see patterns, you see designs, you see complementary colors, and you say, "Hey, this looks good. I want to capture this one." It's through continuous practice. That's how you develop your eye for photography.
yeah, ako naman simple because I just got like the main object that you want to put on. So that's just the center of that shoot and point lang. But you have all the artistic angling and the lighting, right? But this is also different from journalism. Kasi a journalism is quick action. I don't know if there's discernment in there. There's a lot of discernment on your creative work, right?
I think both are forms of storytelling, and
Mm-hmm.
then photojournalism is capturing, as putting photo words into a photo. So that's photojournalism. But other genres of photography is also forms of storytelling. It just it's not dependent. It's also dependent on two things: on the viewer and on the photographer themselves.
Right, right. So, for example, if there's like a rally, how do you make a rally attractive looking? It's like a bunch of people on the street, and what's the story behind it? What's the drama? So, I don't know. It's really quick action too on where you want to position yourself as a photographer.
Actually, one of our photographers, Paul Resurrection, has that similar photo. He took a photo of the Nazareno a couple of years back. And while walking along Jones Bridge, he already saw a kid jumping off the bridge doing backflips just to show off.
Yeah.
To show off. And then he saw another kid on that beam, and he already anticipated what the kid will do. So he was able to perfectly capture the jump from
see.
Jones Bridge. So it really depends.
timing.
No? So yeah. So when you're a photographer, you anticipate events, not just photojournalism, but for us also. Also for travel photography. Example, you want to capture a bike rider on the street and you want to pan it. So from your left, from the peripheral vision, you already spot a passing subject and you already anticipate what that subject will do. So I think those are similar things. So it's anticipation is part of what we do as photographers, not just photojournalism.
I see. I have two questions for the two of you. Do you have, like we writers, we have editors, and do you have an editor? Do you talk to someone and who would tell you like try to take a picture of this like sunset with two old people walking and all that? Do you have how does this go with you as photographers in terms of conceptualization? Or maybe
Do you want to answer this, Arlene?
I could. When I was still writing travel stories for the magazine in Tokyo, I was pretty much given the liberty of deciding what I wanted to tell
Mm-hmm.
and so therefore I had the liberty of deciding what I wanted to shoot. So um, the storytelling in photography is such that it evolves out of um, the experience of the photographer, Veer. So we don't have, as non-professional travel photographers, we don't have editors from anywhere telling us what to shoot. But personally, when I go out and create a travel story, I have my own norms. Like I have my guidelines on what specific visual stories to create or what subjects to shoot, like people, places, the products or the technology or the architecture, and people on the street, the lifestyle. So I try to put together a photo essay based on different subjects that I saw in a particular location. And the editing or the curating part is where the magazine editor comes in. You know, when the editor tells me, "Oh, let's use these photos and let's organize it in such a way that you begin from the big picture to the small picture." So you have the scenery, which is the big picture, and then the small picture is your person. If you're following a person, what is the person doing? Is the person a craftsman? What is the tool that the person is using? Is he molding clay? Is he trying to paint something? So you go from big picture to small picture, and that's how travel photography or travel photo essays are told. So, but yung actual editing of the picture, we have our own editing software, if that's what you also mean. So we have to be adept at editing also here to be able to represent our photos in a certain mood or in a certain color palette that we wanna present.
I see. Great. So this ANYO exhibit, which is coming out on April 3,
April 3.
are you all working together? Are you a barkada? Are you a group of friends, or you're just randomly organizing this?
No, we're actually the main connection is photography, and we know each other. I just met some of them through Arlene, but I think that's the initial connection, and then through the year-long process of organizing, curating our own images, creating our own images, we got to know each other more. So everybody plays a role. So when we launch this, it's a collective output for all of us.
Great.
So we're connected in some way to each other, Veer. So in the beginning, it was Maryanne and I, and then she asked me, "Oh, do you think it should be all women?" And I said, "Okay, we can try to contact other women photographers that we know." But then eventually, the selection process became such that the other women were not available. So we said, "Okay, are there any Filipino artists in the US?" So we thought 3 more people. And then eventually I said, I have another Cebuano friend that I want to bring in because his photography is so different from what we do. So it'll be a good mix for us.
So who is this?
And Maryanne is right. And then we became friends now along the way during the year.
So who is the Cebuano photographer?
John Gonzalez.
John Gonzalez.
I see.
You'll when you visit the exhibit, you'll see his set is slightly different in that it is based on the history of Tres de Abril, the Battle of Tres de Abril. Leon Quilat, the hero.
I'm so impassioned for that too.
I know. I think as a writer and as a Cebuano, you're probably going to go to Google later on and search the particulars.
I kilig at artworks. Like I really like how you express yourselves and in a very beautiful way that you appreciate life. So that's a very good output. I mean, output of your soul, I would say. Amazing. So how much would a painting, I mean, and how do you call that, photography cost, photograph cost?
The photos.
Yeah, mag-ready na ang mga people sa kanilang budget.
I think very affordable. It's it's cheaper than an LV bag or a Gucci bag.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And but it's a unique work of art that is not available very easily on the market, because these photos, we created these especially for the exhibit. I mean,
Yes.
we took some photos as far back as maybe 2015, 2014, but like hoarders. Photographers are hoarders, Beer.
So you have albums and albums of photos now?
Yeah, we take photos and then we hide them.
You
Yeah,
hide
not really hide, literal. We put them away, and then when we all of a sudden
Look for an
there's like,
occasion.
there's an occasion, there's a reason, or there's a light bulb moment. You're running out of energy,
you're
and
doing a library already?
yeah,
Yes.
Or
yes.
that-
yeah. Like
Yeah.
like you as a writer, we also do that. We have little
Like an
folders of
archive.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, archives of this is your story on immigration.
Yeah.
This is your
Yeah.
story on
Yeah,
women.
and that's how we are too as photographers. We have projects. So when Maryanne said, "Okay, Arlene, what's going to be our concept?" I said, "Well, it's an exhibit about the Philippines. So let's take a look at how each of the photographers see the Philippines through our photos." So that's how we ended up with some kind of segmentation on the visual stories that we are presenting in the exhibit. So in Maryanne's case, beautiful Pacific minimalist landscape photos.
Yeah. See, I appreciate the works of art.
Very, very hard the technique for that, Veer. It takes a lot of focus to do that. And I do that sometimes, but I'm a very impatient person. I carry around two cameras. I shoot what Maryanne does, and then at the same time I'm also shooting people on the street. So
Last two questions before
Sure.
we wrap up. Do you know each other so much that even if they don't have the name, you know that is his or her photograph? Do you know
Yes.
everybody's
Yes.
style?
Style? Yes.
So you know that this
just-
is Arlene's,
yeah.
this is
Yes.
Lance.
Yes.
Oh, great.
Because I think through the years of following each other, even if you don't know them personally, you follow their work first.
Right.
And then that's how you get to know the photographer themselves when you meet them in social gatherings. Example for Paul Resurrection, even if you look at his landscape photographs, you just know it's his work. There's this distinct style in each photographer that you can easily tell.
Great. Yeah, also editors, without the byline, I would know that, this is the copy of Michelle. This is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
copy of-
It's like you have your own visual signature
Yeah.
on a photograph. Yeah.
yeah,
So
that signature can be in the form of your color palette, your distinct subjects. Like when if you ask me what Maryanne's signature is, it's her. Without her telling me it's a postcard picture, it's her postcard style. It's very real. It's very relatable, and yet the story is so clear because there's no clutter on the picture. You see it right away. So,
I see.
and then in my case,
You have a
there
lot
are
of color.
pictures. Yeah, I'm a very colorful person because travel photography is also telling the truth about what you saw. So
Yeah.
if it's colored, it's colored. And the subjects. I have favorite subjects, and
Like that.
my signature is that I rarely have landscapes that are perfect. I mean, my landscape photos are imperfect because I throw in an element that makes it distinctly mine. Like if I wish I had presented pala Maryanne my own volcano with the Carabao walking across, because nobody else would have that. But
What do you mean by imperfect, Arlene?
Landscapes, for example, are perfect as they are without any human element there. But if you wait
what
for a
is life?
human,
Ganun
yeah,
lang.
like a human element or a boat that's floating there, then it becomes an imperfect landscape picture, because then you have indications of human existence, and to some landscape photographers, it's like throwing a wrench on a perfectly running machine. So
Great.
so
Oh my God.
my photos of Batanes, that Milky Way, I'd like to think it's the photo that catapulted me to becoming a landscape travel photographer now of note. So I've always used that as an example of my perfect rule of thirds principle, which I
Yeah.
follow all the time.
Great, great, amazing. So, we are over time actually. So it's one already talking to women
Yeah.
leaders, photographers,
Mm.
and all that, because like we
Mm.
we exchange our experience so well, and
Mm.
people learn from us, and perhaps we
Mm.
learn from them too. Well,
Mm.
at this point, they learn from us because we're
We're the only ones talking. Yeah.
yeah. So good luck on the exhibit, which is coming up
Thank
very
you.
soon. That's already next week. Right.
Yes.
And so I understand that Consul General Sinin Mangalili is going to open the exhibit along
Yes.
with the
Yes.
artists. So
Mm.
congratulations. And
Thank
I
you.
wish Arlene will be
Mm.
here, Sana. But next time,
Mm.
Arlene, come back.
You can represent me there. You can be
Mm.
Arlene's proxy at the
Oh
opening,
my
and
gosh.
Mm.
that way you'll
I'll be
meet
honored.
Maryanne in person.
Yes.
Yes. And looking
Mm.
forward to see you, Maryanne. And
Me too. Mm.
your works of art. So that's about it for this episode, and we'll see you again. We'll see you in person next
On
week,
Monday. Yes.
Monday.
Yes.
And Arlene, I'll be in touch through social media.
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank you for
ladies.
inviting us
Thank you.
here.
Thank you.
Thank
Mm.
you so much for the wonderful time, and all the best. Keep on doing what you're doing. Hopefully, there'll be a coffee table book, whatever
That's the big dream. That Arlene and I was actually talking about this last year. And
um,
then
Yeah.
the next big project is a coffee table book, but because it takes so long to produce. So, but that's in the pipeline, and that's a pipe dream
Yeah.
that we want to realize.
Oh my God, blessings to that. It's gonna happen in
Thank
time.
you.
Thank
So,
you.
ladies and gentlemen, take note, mark your calendars for ANYO photo exhibit at the
Mm,
Philippine Center on Fifth Avenue. And we will be seeing
mm,
wonderful works of art of these wonderful ladies, Arlene Donaire and Maryanne Mendoza, along
mm,
with their wonderful colleagues in
mm.
the craft of photography. See you. Bye for
Thank
now.
you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
There you go. That wraps up our show, our episode for this Monday, the second episode for this Monday. Busy, busy. So thank you, and hope to see you in the events of the active Filipinos, women leaders, Loida Lewis at Barnes and Noble on Tribeca, and on April 3, the start of ANYO exhibit. See you soon, and take care, everyone. Thanks for watching.